It's time to dive beneath the surface and into the minds and hearts of your favorite celebrities and pop culture icons. Welcome to Up and Adam.
Hey, guys, welcome back, and look who I have here with me today. Not 10 a.m., not 9:30, not 11. It's 12 o'clock, and RJ is all glammed out. Good morning, RJ.
Good morning, or good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon. Hey, if we're talking to California, we're saying good morning, so it's okay. We don't have a wrong here.
Exactly.
How are you?
I'm pretty well. How are you?
Good. I'm excited. I'm excited to talk about this. There's so much that's actually going on. So with Atlanta, I mean, I'm just excited. I have a new stool. That makes me happy. Okay. I don't know if I love this angle, but I'm in this mode where I'm just like starting to play with my studio. Jason's launching his channel. Married to Medicine just came out. We just watched Meghan and Harry's interview. I'm like already having a great week.
It's jam-packed with media news this week for sure. Like, it's a lot going on
with media news. No, you're right.
Yeah.
I wanted to say to you about this real quick before we jump in to the Real Housewives of Atlanta. This was such a crazy episode. And as we go through it and as we kind of recap this episode, I'm going to ask you a lot of your personal experiences and if you would react this way or not react this way. Okay. One of them, and I want to give you the time to think about this now, is when Kenya Moore actually dissed on Drew Sidor for trying to split the check. But with that being said, we should jump right into it.
Can I?
Yeah.
Before we start, can I just clarify some things really quickly?
Of course.
So we talked about bro chat, I think like maybe a week or 2 weeks ago. I just want to let everybody know that bro chat is not mine. It is Mitchell's. Mitchell is the brainchild of bro chat. I just wanted to clarify that.
Was everyone thinking that it was yours?
Yes.
See, you're Beyonceing Mitchell.
So it's just like, and I did not mean that. I did not mean that. I did not speak up. I think we were talking about it and I didn't say anything. And so it was implied that maybe it was mine, and it is not mine. Bro chat is Mitchell's. And also, I'm breaking this news on your channel. Woo! I'm going to be taking a little break from social media. Not from doing your show. Excuse me, not from doing your show, but just my personal platform for a while.
Is this for mental health? Like, do you have a reason for this?
Yeah, I feel like, mental health, pretty much. I mean, I'm transparent, so I'll just go ahead and say it.
Yeah.
Since Kyle passed away, I really had no time to really stop and process. Mm-hmm. When Kyle passed away, I hopped on this roller coaster ride, and I have not yet stopped, and it's been ongoing. I don't feel like I've had the time to properly grieve or to properly have time to breathe. Like, it's been a nonstop thing. And I need to process what is actually happening to me and process where I go forward from here. So.
Well, I think that all of us can appreciate that. And I want to say this because I feel like I can speak on behalf of everybody who's in this chat room right now. Send you the best and send you love. I think it's important to honestly take a moment for ourselves and step back and really kind of reevaluate where we're going, where we're headed, what direction we're headed in, where our head is, and how things have changed so much over such a short period of time. I mean, 2020 was a whirlwind in itself. And I've said this to you so many times. I am so terribly sorry for the passing of your friend Kyle, but you deserve it. You deserve a moment to yourself to be able to take a step back and not take in all of the chit chat from everybody else, right, and properly grieve. That's fair.
Yes. So that's it.
All right. No, and hey, listen, fine. Then I'll address something too, just so you're not on the spot. Everybody keeps asking me about this mark on my arm because they're like, what is that? Guys, I literally ripped my arm open by accidentally. I was sleeping on my bed. This happened a month ago, and I've been trying to hide it from everybody, but people have been catching it in my lives. They're like, what happened to your arm? I literally, like, as I was sleeping, rolled over, hit my arm on the corner of the nightstand and pulled it down, and it ripped through my skin.
Oops.
So it was like a legit, like, and as I woke up, I was like, no! So I mean, I'm constantly, like, last week I had allergies. 1 week, like, I always have something going on. I know it sounds like it, but I don't make this up. I'm not going to just add a scar to my body. So I do want to point it out because I do get comments and everyone's like, what happened? I'm like, no, Jason is not beating me up off on the side. He wouldn't even win that fight, so don't worry, guys. Okay? Okay? With that, shall we get started?
I can't, yeah.
All right, guys, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love. I put in the community tab Jason's new channel, Down with Jason. I put an intro up of the video. I'm so insanely jealous, guys. My intro will be changing now because it is not even half as good as Jason's, and I'm a little annoyed by that. With that being said, if you haven't, go ahead, hit that like button, subscribe to Jason's channel, and let's jump into why we actually came here, the Real Housewives of Atlanta.
Woohoo!
Okay, so RJ, we start off this episode with obviously a lot of B-roll, but one of the most important conversations that kind of kicked us off was Kenya talking to her dad about her marriage to Mark Daly. Kenya's dad's been in a relationship for over 39 years, but you know what I find interesting about Kenya's dad, and not interesting in a bad way, I actually really enjoy this because I love transparency. Yeah. Kenya's dad is the type of man who is just going to give it to you straight. If he doesn't like it, he's going to tell you he doesn't like it. If he does, he's got, you know what I mean? Sometimes we try to avoid people like that because they point out something that we're trying to ignore. Like maybe we're in a toxic relationship, or maybe something is not the best for us. But then here comes this person who has no dog in that fight, and they come and just tell us everything we don't want to hear. You know what I mean? Yeah, he's that kind of man.
Oh yeah.
I like him. And when he's talking to Kenya about the fact that, listen, I'm celebrating my 39th anniversary to my wife. You got to 3 years. That's good for you. But you guys haven't even been together for half of the time. And he goes on to talk about how he hasn't really actually sat down and ever met Mark and had a proper conversation. This just is really telling of Mark and Kenya's relationship. It seems like a very surface relationship.
I think so. And I think that she should have definitely invited her father to the wedding. That's a big deal. You know, if, you know, considering that she doesn't have like a relationship with her mom, but she has a relationship with her dad, and her dad he actually seems pretty caring and loving, and he's been in a 39-year marriage, she should have included dad.
Right.
That's
exactly.
Hurtful. That's hurtful.
I mean, honestly, she didn't include anybody, just to be fair, but especially with everything that she's been in. No, she actually ran away for her wedding. She went away and had an island ceremony really quick. It was why she was fired from the Real Housewives of Atlanta, because they had a small gap in between filming. Nobody even knew this man existed. And all of a sudden, Kenya Moore announces, hey, I got married. And it was actually the same reason, just to give you guys a little bit of kickback. Lauren Conrad almost got fired off of The Hills the second season, because after her and Jason broke up, she went through the breakup and then called MTV and said, hey, I went through a breakup. And they were like, you can't do that. We ended the show off when you were still in a relationship. If you're going through a breakup, we need to film that. And for Kenya, it's the same thing. It's because we have to remember these shows are supposed to us, seem like these are these women's everyday lives. And we can't just leave off Kenya single and like trying to meet people. And then all of a sudden, 6 months later, we start a new season and, hey, I'm married. What happened?
Right. The continuity of it all.
Yeah. Wow. I like that. What continuity of it all. I also, by the way, you guys give me a lot of hell because I get excited about big words, and you say sometimes don't act dumb. I'm not acting dumb. I get excited. I like big words. And if I don't know something, I'm not afraid to ask. So I would rather ask and sound dumb than actually be dumb. Just saying.
I'm an actor, so that word is in my vocabulary a lot. So
continuity?
Yeah.
I like it. I'm a big fan of the word continuity. Thanks.
I love it.
But, no, I mean, it was an interesting, again, dynamic between the two of them. And it really makes me so sad that Kenya doesn't have her mom to lean on. We'll get a little bit more into that later throughout the episode, because we saw the B-roll and the playback to when Kenya knocked on the door of her mom. And she's never had a strong relationship with her mom. Her mom gave her away at 3 years old, handed over custody to her grandmother, and her dad has been in her life. Her dad hasn't been a strong figure in the fact that, or in the sense that he raised her. Her grandmother raised her, but he's been around long enough to where she's forgiven him for being absent. Now she looks up to him as a father figure, and they have a totally different relationship. And now she's depending on that relationship because she needs that sort of man or manly masculine attention, guidance from someone, especially after going through this supposed divorce from her husband, Mark. I mean,
someone who's not going to abandon her, probably.
Yeah, the one who's not going to abandon her, even though he already did. Right? Okay, fair. All right, moving on. I wanted to point something out real quick before we go to the Kenya and Drew meetup. The fact that Cynthia Bailey was sitting in her house, Lake Bailey, and she's sitting there talking to her soon-to-be husband, well, now actually husband, and her assistant Chandler, and she's on her phone, and she's having her assistant Chandler text her mom about a dress meetup. What are you doing? What point do you have to get it to where you are asking your assistant to contact your parents? I had Jason sitting right next to me, and he's like, why don't you contact your own mom, you lazy? Like, and I'm like, yeah, you kind of, Cynthia, I love you, but you're being a little bit lazy. What do you, I mean, thoughts? If you have an assistant, is it too much? How does your mom feel when she gets a text from Chandler and Chandler's like, hey, your daughter wants to meet up with you tomorrow at 12 o'clock. She's like, okay, my daughter couldn't say that.
I mean, I think it depends on the situation. Like you said, 2020, we all went through a whole lot. The pandemic alone was enough, mentally and physically and all that jazz. But then she's planning a wedding during the pandemic. I'm pretty sure she's worried about so much, and so much is going on in her mind that maybe at that moment she needed her assistant to be of assistance.
Okay.
Sometimes you got to do what you got to do for your mental health. I'll bring it back to mental health. She knows the relationship between her and her mother, and I'm pretty sure her mom understands the amount of weight that was on her during this time. She was catching so much slack for even planning a wedding during the pandemic. So, and then all of these things were going wrong. You see that they made a checklist down the line of how many things were going wrong. Maybe she just needed a little bit of assistance. That's my thought. But I think I would be the one to actually message my parents. But I could understand somebody that wouldn't during that particular situation.
Okay. Well, just to be fair too, I felt so bad because I had to call my parents, and this is my own personal situation, but I had to call my parents when I got engaged to Jason. Jason told me we were going to, and guys, before I get started on this, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love, of course, segue into that. But Jason told me we were going out to dinner with Catherine Zeta-Jones. We flew from New York to Los Angeles. He told me we were going to dinner with Catherine Zeta-Jones. Why I believed it, this is how naive I was. Why I believed it was because Jason, she was a huge fan of Cirque. She watched Jason perform, but then after they became friends, and Jason took her daughter to and from dance school. So they had a relationship, and I was just a huge fan. I was like, oh my God, an actress who also doubles as being bipolar. Like, I get that. I'm not an actress, but sometimes I could be a little bit bipolar. So listen, Catherine, you are right down my alley. So when Jason said we were going to have dinner with her, I didn't know which side of Catherine I was going to get. I was excited about it. And then we get into a car, the car passes over to this airport. And I said, why are we going to an airport? He said, you can't take a car to Catherine's house. I was like, oh my God, you can't take a car to Catherine's house. So then I'm getting in this freaking helicopter thinking that I'm going to Catherine Zeta's house. And I'm like, this is amazing. And then as soon as the helicopter's like crossing over, the guy obviously knew something about me because he's like, Adam, can you hear me? And I had the headphones on. He's like, I just want to point down there's Khloe Kardashian's house right there. What do you think? And I'm like, oh my God, how did he know I like that? So then I act like I don't know, but Jason already told him I'm a big fan. So they crossed over the Kardashians' homes on purpose and then land on this hill. And then I got engaged. What I was trying to get to was the fact that my parents were so out of the loop on this engagement. They knew nothing about it. And then after I had to call them, there was a party of like 30, 40 people, a small group of people at a house waiting for us. Because again, we were just visiting LA and we're having this party and my family wasn't there. And I had to call them and be like, hey guys, sorry. And they were like, Jason. It's like,
oh my God.
Yeah, sorry. Long story short, that was like a whole spiel. But
that's like a reality TV show.
Oh, that was, I mean, it was like a shit show, but it was something. But anyway, no, you're right. Cynthia has a lot going on in this moment. So maybe she needs her assistant to communicate with her mom.
Sometimes you need a little bit of assistance. And look,
yes.
Who am I to judge?
I agree. But going back to Kenya and Drew end up meeting up for dinner for probably the most non-productive dinner ever. I
want to say, did they even eat?
No, they actually both wrapped their food. They both had their food wrapped. It was just this was an awful dinner. Yeah. Kenya calls out Drew for accusing her of practically being fake only because technically Kenya was texting Drew, letting her know about the private jets, letting her know about things that were going on, trying to forge this sort of relationship at the beginning, even though in her confessionals, she was shady. She was shading her wigs and shading a few other things about Drew Sidora, but she seemed like she was trying. Drew took it as though, you're not a good girlfriend. You're telling me one thing, but then telling me not to tell the ladies what you're telling me. That's a little fake. Kenya obviously took that as an insult because at this point in time, I feel like she thinks she's an OG and she kind of runs the show a little bit. I don't know, RJ, how you felt about watching this scene, but I was amused and getting annoyed at the same time. Neither one would let the other get a word in. Then they start singing over each other. And then boom, before I know it, they're both packing their bags and they're getting out.
Yeah, it was not a productive conversation. And it was just like, I was trying to see if they would actually listen to each other. And it really never happened. They both had their stances and they were cemented in what they were thinking. And it bothered both of them to be quiet when they had to be quiet to try to listen. It bothered them. You could see it in both of their faces. I'm just like, honey, I don't know where this is going.
I felt the same way.
Even production put on the time. They put 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes, 5 minutes. I mean.
And they kept talking in circles. And then one's like, I can't sing. I'm not even going to try. But trying to sing over each other. And then finally, Drew looks at Kenya and she goes, the final straw was. And Kenya goes, oh, there was a final straw. And Drew's like, yeah, the fact that you didn't let me or didn't even tell me anything, extend the olive branch of letting any of the young moms know that they could bring their baby because you were bringing yours. That was sort of her final straw. And before you know it, again, they're talking in circles and then boom, the conversation's over. They're getting up. The bill is starting to be paid. This is what I wanted to ask you. Drew tries to split the check and the dinner ends, but Kenya says only broke bitches split checks. I don't mean to put anybody on the spot, but since the theme is we dropped Jason's intro video today for his channel, guys, again, go ahead. I'm dropping it right now in the, here, I'm going to put go subscribe to Jason I'm putting it right here for you guys. Copy. Boom, boom. Okay, done. Cool. Since Jason actually started his channel today, I want to put him on the spot with RJ because Jason took it upon himself to go meet RJ before I ever had the chance to. Jason went to DC like a sneaky little spineless jellyfish with a hidden agenda to go meet said RJ.Allan, only on Instagram, not on YouTube. Forget the dot when you go to YouTube. We know. And there's a lot of emphasis on the RJ.Allan. But Jason went to go meet RJ, and I wanted to know, did broke bitches split the check or did someone pick up the bill? Okay. I never asked Jason. I don't know this. So you can totally, if he asked you to split the check, let's expose him. I want to know.
It was team broke bitches don't split the check.
Really?
That's what it was giving.
Okay. Okay.
It was giving very much Kenya Moore's energy.
Okay. All right. Well, I mean, I guess that's technically fair. Listen, I've been on both sides of the spectrum, and guys, you're more than welcome to comment below and let us know because I'll bring up your scenarios. But I've been out to a place it was called Joe Allen's, and it was right off of I think Times Square or something, like Hell's Kitchen in New York. Jason and I used to go all the time, and we went with a bunch of Tony Award-winning actresses, like people, and I'm not trying to brag, I'm just like legit people. It was a good group of people, and they were hilarious. I didn't even know what a Tony was when I went to New York, by the way, just to be fair. And then we had this friend who was sitting with us, and she got a soup, and she got a Coke, and as soon as the bill came out, she put out legit dollar bills and change on the table, which I'm not knocking anyone at all for ever trying to split a bill or not having enough to pay for whatever. My only thing was we planned and anticipated on going to that dinner all week because Jason was letting us know it was Jason's group of friends. I don't have friends like that. Jason's group of friends who were in this business. And he's like, guys, it's going to be fun. We get to dress up. It's going to be a great night out. And we all go. And I'm like, okay, it's going to be expensive, whatever. I'm like 20 years old and broke. I'm fine. I can do this. And then my friend next to me breaks out her change purse and dumps it on the table. It starts divvying out for the check while like 8 other people around the table are just staring at us. And I was
That's
like,
fucking great.
I was like, this is so embarrassing. And then one person ended up picking up the check. And I was like, hey, it totally gave me Kenya Moore. No. Broke bitches split checks. Like, not. I was like dying because I was watching it and I was like, listen, I'll split a check. I'm not gonna break out my change purse on you, but I'll split a check.
That is so funny.
My gosh, it was a moment. Actually, I don't think Jason's probably in the other room laughing right now because we were mortified. We both looked at each other like, what? And she was dead set. Like, she's like, yeah, I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to go outside, smoke a cigarette real quick. When you guys are ready to go, we'll go. And we're both looking and we're like, you're going to leave that on the table and go smoke a cigarette? What? And she did. She did.
I hope y'all are still friends.
I actually, we don't talk to her at all. And it's not because of that, but no, we don't talk to each other. That is so funny. Oh my God.
Oh, that is so funny.
All right, guys, I'll stop boring you with my own personal stories. Unless something else, if I can relate to it, I like to just give those little tidbits. Again, guys, if you haven't already, RJ's dying. So while he's dying, go ahead and hit that like button, show some love. I dropped the link to Jason's channel. Go ahead and subscribe. We have another video coming up after this for 90 Day Fiance, but that's not what we're here to talk about. Let's continue on Real Housewives of Atlanta. Cynthia and Mel, get it together. Cynthia and Mel go shopping, and I want to know. I wonder if she ever cuts Mel a check. Cynthia's sister Mel has been around. Well, it's Mal. I keep saying it like the way I pronounce it is like Mel. It's Mal. Mal. Yes. Cynthia's sister Mal. She's been around for a long time. She's been around before Cynthia married Peter. I mean, it's her sister. So when I say around for a long time, I mean, we've seen her on and off the show for quite some time. Right. Back to the day, like, she had a husband on the show who was this famous basketball player in Europe. I mean, this was years and years ago. We're on season 13. I think we've been seeing her since season 3 or 4. Anyways, at this point, I'm wondering, is she getting cut a check, or no, she just likes being with her sister? But the main point of this conversation was Cynthia went down the line with Mal while she's talking to her about every single thing that's going wrong throughout this wedding planning, at least. Yeah. RJ pointed out earlier that Cynthia had a list, and he wasn't kidding. Everything's going wrong. Mom needs a new dress. Number 1. Number 2, we lost 2 bridesmaids. Lost 2 bridesmaids. I was going to say lost 2 bridesmaids. Where is my, I need less coffee and more water. Number 3, we lost a groomsman. Number 4, Mike's ring doesn't fit. Number 5, no rest doesn't fit. And number 6, there's a possible hurricane. And like Cynthia said, she might be gone with the wind in this wedding, but it's not going to be fabulous. I feel so bad for Cynthia.
Yeah, I mean, I mean, that's a lot. That's a lot. That's a lot. No wonder she had her assistant text her mom. I mean,
well, okay, that makes a little bit more sense now.
See?
Okay.
Yeah, she's over it.
All right.
But you got to keep pushing forward. This is a wedding. She's put out an invitation. People are expecting it no matter what. So it's just like, honey, you got to push forward. You can't break down. So while everything might be falling apart around you, you have to still somehow remain centered and push forward. You are the bride.
Yeah. No, I know, but also too, I was talking to a friend that I just had here. Actually, she was here off and on for 2 months. Hi, Gelsey, if you're watching.
Hey, Gelsey.
Gelsey's sister.
Oh, Gelsey.
Yep. No, it's okay. Gelsey's parents paid for, and mind you, like her dad's a doctor. Her mom owns a dance studio. They're okay. Like, they're good. They have it together. There's no like financial woes, but it's not like we're talking about extremely rich people, right? So when you think about they have 2 daughters together. And for the first daughter, they spent almost $50,000 on her wedding. And I think about that, and I know a lot of people will be like, $50,000 on a wedding, that's nothing. Guys, I am probably the most frugal person you'll ever meet. This is why I stand with Drew Sidora on Broke Bitches Do Split Checks. I will split a check with you. You go out with me. I'm not Jason, so I don't know what he does or what him and RJ did. No. This side of this relationship, we'll split a check. Okay, especially the more digits that are added onto that check, the more chances I have of splitting that check with you. But moving forward. Oh man, where was I going with that? I just lost it. What was I saying?
How much do they typically cost generally?
What? Oh, weddings. Oh, that's what I was saying. Gosh, my head's all over the place. I don't know. I feel like they go between like 10,000 to like 200,000. The woman who, Jason, one of Jason's best friends, her name is Charlie. She was the woman who set us up with the helicopter to get engaged. And she said to us after, because she is a wedding planner, and she's like, oh my God, you guys have to let me plan your wedding. I'll give you a discount. And Jason's like, well, what do your weddings typically start at? And she's like, babe, like 6 figures. And I was like, 6 figures? I could buy a few more condos with that. What do you mean? $50,000 I could put down. I could get a new house. I would just never spend the money. And especially someone like Cynthia, they're spending a boatload of money. There's now a pandemic affecting it. She's not getting the cameras in the room, so she doesn't get it as a write-off. Well, maybe a little bit of it she gets as a write-off because some of it's being featured. Right. But it's just not really going her way for how much money is being spent. What I want to know, RJ, first of all, are you married?
No.
Okay. Second off, don't say no like it's sad. It's really not sad. I mean, most of the time, people who are married usually don't want to be married. And if you're not married, you kind of, I don't know. Anyways, if you were engaged, would you want the big expensive wedding?
Gosh, I was just asked that the other day. An expensive wedding?
Like, I mean, would you want because you have to think about it, the venue, the food per guest, the drinks, if you're going to have any sort of wedding that's mediocre, you're paying at least, and this sounds crazy, but like 15, 20,000 plus if you just want a simple, okay wedding.
It's in my DNA to be extravagant. I couldn't imagine going through this lifetime and having a mediocre wedding for me, because I would just feel like I missed something. So
you feel like you would have to have, if you're going to have a wedding, you're going to go all out.
Yeah. I feel like if you're not going to go all out for the person that you love, then what other, I mean, I don't know. I just feel like the wedding should be the best wedding.
No, see, I mean, okay, that's fair. You know, some people, listen, and I'm not bashing weddings across the board. There are some people who get married in their backyards and they have a beautiful wedding and they do it pretty much DIY, do it yourself. They put it together and it's amazing. I'm talking about when you have wedding planners and you really want to, like exactly what Cynthia Bailey's doing, getting back onto the Real Housewives of Atlanta, just pointing out this list that Bravo obviously emphasized. Cynthia is really going through it because things aren't kind of going in her favor. I can't wait to see how the rest of this works out. But I think, again, this is a little bit of dramatization to give us like oomph.
Yeah.
I feel like Cynthia's wedding probably went perfect. I think every single wedding has sort of its, I don't know if this is the right word. And if I say it wrong, don't call me dumb, guys. Like, I'll figure it out. But I think everyone in their weddings have their like sort of qualms where they have to go through certain things and they have to fix them and address them. And it is what it is. It's an event. It's like having a party. You think when you have listen, I had a party when I was 16 and it was in Royal Palm Beach. It got busted by, it wasn't a SWAT team, but it was Palm Beach County Sheriff's Office. And there was a helicopter shining a light on the house. My stepsister kicked the door in of a vacant house to throw a party. It was the worst.
What?
Yeah. We could totally have story time, RJ. We could have,
oh my God, story time.
Yeah, story time.
Hey, a new fucking segment. Oh, sorry. A new segment.
that. Yeah, you know what we should do? We should have story time and we should do it where we're streaming to both of our channels at the same time.
Yes.
And we come on and we just we should do it once a week where we just pick a topic, whether it's childhood or dating or like just something fun. And maybe we can even get Jason to come on and stream with us.
Yeah.
And just have a free for all.
3 of us. No, look, that is a fantastic idea.
I'm
love
down.
it. So yeah, when I come back, it's on.
Yes. Theo said 16-year-old Adam got in a lot of trouble. Yes.
Who's that? Somebody that knows him? Knows you?
No, well, they know me from here. So
that's
all right. Moving on, guys. So Page 6 actually picked up on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. 2 housewives actually slept with the male stripper Bolo. They don't actually know which 2 housewives they were or who leaked the story, but somebody leaked the story to the press. Just to be fair, after watching so many of these franchises, Beverly Hills, Atlanta, New Jersey, New York, we know that there's always usually one in there who is sort of press happy. And this is how this works, guys. And RJ can correct me if I'm wrong. But if you are someone like a housewife, let's say, for example, Kenya Moore leaked the story. If Kenya Moore leaks the story to the press and she gives them that heads up in that story that no one else knows, then eventually when Kenya Moore is doing something for her business, like Kenya Moore Hair Care or something else, she can also give that story and they owe her a favor. So they're also going to promo Kenya Moore Hair Care. Now, I don't know who exactly leaked the story, but it was someone. RJ, who do you think leaked it?
Kenya.
Really? Everyone thinks Kenya.
Because the probability, I mean, I don't even watch the show other than right now, but she said if it was B. Scott or somebody else, then probably. So a red flag went up for me because I'm looking like probably. So most times you do this and you report to them. So what makes you any different this time, especially the fact that you were playing investigator there at the vacation home? I'm pretty sure you probably couldn't help your fingers and you went ahead and messaged the blog, or page 6 rather, and you put it out there. Well, everybody else was enjoying themselves. They weren't thinking about a blog to leak too. I
want to point this out, and thank you, Kempire Radio, because this is true. And let's not act like we don't know production also leaks stories, which is also, yes, fair enough. That is true because it helps push the show and it helps kind of build this angst and anticipation for what's to come. So no, you're right, Kempire.
Oh, Lord, they're doing it for RHOP, honey.
Yep. And I want to say this too also, and Theo, I'm sorry. I usually love everything that you say, but I don't agree with this only because Theo said, I'm beginning to believe Bolo after he said nothing happened. Porsha maybe did something, but I think the storyline is being pushed by production. I think Bolo was probably paid off. I think in this situation, leaving at 7-something in the morning, where there's smoke, there's fire.
They're not watching TV.
Yeah, they're not watching TV. There was something or some things that went down in that house, but I feel like someone in that house, and it could have even been Candy. Actually, it probably was Candy, had Bolo sign an NDA. Someone had Bolo sign an NDA. And that's why he can't go against anyone, because Bolo could have talked, but by signing that NDA, if he talks, Candy, whoever made him sign the NDA, will sue him for filth, for everything. They will completely, because you're attacking their character. And if you attack their character, that's their business, their livelihood, their personality. You think you're going to take food out of their mouths, they'll completely take the roof off of your head.
Especially Candy.
Yeah, especially Candy.
He will never work again.
He would never, well, not in any strip club. And some people were like, oh, well, Bolo wouldn't do that. Guys, I hate to say this, but if you go #Bolo on Instagram or Real Housewives of Atlanta, there are a lot more nasty videos of the things that he's done with women on stages than what we're alluding to possibly happening within this house. There's some raunchy stuff. And to say that this male stripper wouldn't hook up with this beautiful woman or these beautiful women, I don't think so. Let's be fair. Okay. Let's just be fair. And we'll move on from there. But LaToya thinks in her heart of hearts that Kenya leaked it. And she doesn't want to really go there with Kenya. She doesn't want to cross that line because she feels like that side of Kenya that she doesn't necessarily know yet is Satan Kenya. She knows she's in a good place with Kenya right now, and she knows they're friends. But she did point out in this episode, which Drew Sidora called out on Instagram, or not Instagram, but Twitter. She said, you refer to your friend as Satan? And LaToya was like, yeah, girl, when she acts out, she acts out. Kenya is not somebody I would want on my bad side.
Yeah. She.
That's it?
I mean, I don't know. I feel like LaToya should just be honest. I mean, because now Kenya's gonna know. I mean, Kenya's watched the episode like we all have. So it's just like, now what? Like, now what's gonna happen with your friendship? Like, if I feel like I have to walk on eggshells with my friend, then what are we doing?
I agree with that. Honestly, I mean, a lot of people have friends like that. And I still have friends to this day where I can't say certain things because I know it'll hurt their feelings. So then I just know what level of friendship I have with that person, as opposed to I have other friends who could come over, sit on the couch with me. They see me at my worst. They see me at my best. We don't judge each other. The next day we just wake up and we're like, okay, let's play all over again.
Right. Yeah, I don't know. That's a interesting relationship that they have. Okay.
Well, moving forward, there's another interesting relationship here, and it would be the Marlo Hampton Kenya Moore relationship. Marlo's hosting this sort of hayride, meetup, pumpkin patch. I don't know what the hell this thing was.
Yeah,
the fact that she's the one who put it together, I really even more don't know, because she was the one complaining about going on this fishing boat, but then you're gonna sit down at a picnic table with a bunch of like.
And apparently it was hot as shit out there, and she had on like this outfit that didn't
like a kimono. Yeah.
And they were like, "Girl, ain't you hot?"
Yeah.
Like what?
No, I mean, I don't know. It seemed like the hayride was sort of like a COVID filming situation, because there was nothing else that they could do, and they were trying to stretch this out and make it work. But we're not going to sit here and rip it apart totally.
That's true.
Porsha ended up being late to the hayride, meetup, pumpkin patch, whatever this was. She ended up being late, so the girls decided to take the hayride and go around. It was Shamia, Kenya, Marlo, Drew Sidora, LaToya Ali, and Candy Burris. When they're going around, Kenya had no problems with calling LaToya out about the fact that, or not LaToya, Drew Sidora, about the fact that before they met up for that dinner that they both awkwardly walked away from, she was sitting there doing voice exercises like she was about to go into an acting session. And even though this was shade from Kenya, it's really kind of honestly so embarrassing, the fact that she said that about Drew, because it makes it honestly, it's not technically breaking a fourth wall, but it seems like to us like, oh, Drew was getting ready for her next scene. And that's how Kenya wanted it to seem. She wanted it to seem like that, girl, this is an actress. She acts like an actress. She is an actress. She's a half-ass actress, but that's what it is. She's an actress. You know?
Yeah, that was pretty interesting. I mean, it's I don't know. I feel like you can do those kind of exercises wherever. I have done them. I haven't done them before dinner, but I've done them like in the car and stuff like that. Yeah. I mean, I do it because my facial muscles often get tense. And when you sing, like it's off. Like when you're a singer, everything is supposed to be relaxed. But you learn that as a singer, the same way you sing is also sort of the same technique that you want to use when you talk. So relaxing those muscles, relaxing the tongue and all of that, and a relaxed larynx and everything there's nothing wrong with that. But I don't know if I would do that before dinner though. But
yeah, no, we have a rule in this house. Jason always, we've been together for 7 years, and he said probably since like 6.5 that I'm not allowed to sing, because I used to sing in the shower all the time, and I would be like, I mean, it would be Jason Derulo or Mariah Carey. I don't care who it was, but I'd be singing at the top of my lungs, and he'd be like, no, you can't sing.
Jason, don't stop his joy.
Yeah, just let me sing.
Singing in the shower is one of the greatest delights in life.
No, I'm not allowed to sing in the shower, especially too when I wake up in the morning. I take showers about like 5:30, 5:45. And sometimes if I'm sitting there, I have to be really quiet and turn on the fan in the bathroom so Jason doesn't hear me taking a shower. And I'll sit there and I'll go through Instagram and I'll scroll through. And like, for example, one day actually your video came up, and it was when all of that was going on, when you were like, Dad.
Oh my God.
And I had my phone on loud, and I'm scrolling down, and all of a sudden you go, Dad. And you hear Jason in the other room, and he's like, no, I'm sleeping. And I was like, sorry.
That is cringy. I'm sorry, Jason.
Yeah. Jason, he's sorry. He's sorry, and now you owe me an apology, Jason.
Oh my gosh.
Thanks, RJ.
Oh my gosh, I got to be careful when I post.
No. But going back to it, though, guys, Porsha got lost along the way. Shamia, Drew, and Marlo waited behind. They waited behind because Porsha was way late, but they wanted to let Porsha know about this Page 6 article. Not only about the Page 6 article, but Kenya kind of alluding to the fact that something happened, where they stand in the relationship. And Porsha pretty much just gave it to us straight. She's like, I will not have a relationship with her. I'm washing my hands. She wants a reaction. I'm not giving her a reaction. It is what it is. Now, I know I made the thumbnail about this, but Kenya said recently that Porsha is extremely fake on camera. And she said that because she feels like us as the viewers, the Bravo fans, Bravo super fans, that we're not actually getting to see the real side of Porsha. She feels like she puts on a very pre-produced version of herself in order to collect that paycheck, and she knows what it takes in order to do so. Now, could Kenya be being shady? Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Porsha dragged her across the reunion floor. Honestly, I don't care. If RJ dragged me by my hair across the floor of a reunion and we're best friends the next year, I'm just using it as an example.
Oh my God.
Like, if you dragged me across the reunion floor by my hair and then next year we're playing like we're best friends, I just know in the back of my head, if this ever happens, I'm like waiting for how I'm going to take you down next. Behind the scenes, like I'm still stewing. I might not get you yet, but I'll get you. Right. And that's how I feel Porsha feels. Well, not Porsha, but Kenya. Yes.
Child, if Porsha is put on for the cameras, so what? It's working.
That's fair.
She's created a formula and she's getting paid to do it. So what?
That's fair. That's fair. And again, she's decided to move on and kind of not have Kenya in her inner circle. So whatever that means, we're going to find out in the future. But Marlo did call out one thing. She called out the fact that she feels like ever since she made up with Kenya, the rest of the girls are being sort of iffy towards her. But Porsha shut that down real quick. She's like, what do you mean? Shamia's right here. This is my best friend. I haven't talked to her in like a week. What are you talking about? And it shut Marlo down so fast because Marlo was sort of reaching a little bit, right? She was reaching for a storyline. And it just shut it down. And it was like, good for you, Porsha. And good for Marlo for being able to be like, okay, I was wrong. And it was like, we can wrap this up because this didn't need to be filmed.
No, I really think that Marlo probably felt that way. I think I think she genuinely probably felt that way, but it was reaching, but I think she really in her mind thought that the girls were treating her differently because I think that's probably what she thought. She probably was like, if I befriend Kenya, then they are going to distance themselves. So then she created that in her mind.
Okay. Well, that's fair. That's fair. But Marlo did, again, she called it out. And the one thing I have to say, though, is it almost makes it seem like Marlo felt in her mind that she bonded with the rest of these women by being very combative with Kenya. So it's like that by her even addressing this is how I felt about it. Like Marlo's like, I feel like ever since I got with Kenya, none of you guys really are like, you guys are being shady, catty, talking about like, I don't want it to be like this. But it means like in the back of your mind, you think, okay, well, before when you were being mean and shady to Kenya, you were doing it because you had an audience and you would rather be on team 4 people in my audience than team Kenya, right?
Right.
I don't know. I mean, this feels like one of these.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, speaking of Kenya, since you brought her up, RJ, not me, Kenya ends up going to the therapist in this episode, and it was sad. It was sad because Kenya's had a hard upbringing. She's fought a lot in school. She was 15 years old dating a guy who was 26, 11 years older than her, who was physically abusive. She went through a lot of struggles. Her mom wasn't there for her. Her dad wasn't raising her. Her grandmother was raising her. And still today, she's a very successful woman. So honestly, kudos to Kenya. But watching her and watching how the therapist is telling her, listen, you've suppressed a lot of stuff from your childhood. It's all coming down, like it's coming out in your adult life. You have to figure out a healthy way to address these situations and move forward. That way you can take control over your life. I was just watching it like, man, sometimes I feel like we're all really hard on the housewives, right? Especially if you're someone like Kenya who likes to stir the pot, but then you forget what everybody's been through and what makes them sort of tick the way that they do. And watching the therapist talk to her in this moment, I was like, Kenya is not a bad person. Kenya just knows what she has to do in order to stay relevant on the show and likes to kind of walk that fence and play around like she does. But I feel like she's a very hurt person who tries to avoid talking about those situations that make her vulnerable and make her hurt.
She should I mean, I mean, the hypocrisy of it all, with her saying that Porsha is not being who she is. Kenya, the person who she was on the therapist's couch, she should be vulnerable. She should be herself. That's just my opinion.
I agree. No, I agree.
Yourself, boo. Be vulnerable, because that's who she is. To me, behind closed doors, with no wall up, she is just a vulnerable person. And I think the way she acts is, I mean, obviously it's a protection mechanism. And maybe she should try something different for this show. I mean, I guess she's always been this kind of person that walks along the fence throughout the whole entire time she's been on this franchise. Maybe she should try a season where she is actually, just
raw, real,
and just completely raw.
I agree.
It's time.
It's time, Kenya. Show yourself.
It's time. It's time. But yeah, no, I felt bad. I mean, how could one not feel sorry for somebody who has went through all of that and is searching for love and she can't find it?
Okay, you just made this really deep.
I mean, but it's true. The only love that seems to be consistent at this point is from her daughter. And it took her to have her daughter to have a consistent kind of love. No wonder she didn't want to break and leave from her daughter on the vacation.
No, it's true. And I mean, I guess sort of moving forward and ending this episode with that, this is going to, I mean, we have so much more chaos coming this season. I like how they emphasized on Strippergate being the main thing, but the fact that Drew Sidora and the preview to next week's episode is yelling at Latoya Ali and saying, Latoya forever? How about Latoya never ever, bitch? It's like, what?
Ooh, let me tell you, Drew does not play.
She plays with those wigs.
I love that girl. You say she plays with the wigs?
I mean, she's playing with that. Listen, she's playing dress up or something. She's playing with wigs. Latoya points that out. Porsha gives her some credit on the wigs, but she plays a little bit. She might not play with Drew Sidora though.
I love the fact that she could just be herself.
Actually, I'm a fan too. I'm a fan of
put on a wig that doesn't so what? Like whatever. Have fun, live life, laugh at yourself, but also be able to protect yourself if people come after you. And that's exactly what Drew is doing. Drew is like, yeah, I'm not gonna switch it up. I'm gonna keep doing me. I'm gonna keep doing whatever I do with these wigs, honey. So what? If you come for me, you're gonna feel the wrath. And that's exactly what that energy from Drew is giving.
I agree. Okay. Yeah. All right. Kempire Radio said Drew's wigs and fashion are the worst. Ooh, Drew is so corny. Okay, so we have a divided group. That's fair. Guys, it's okay for us to be divided because we come here to have an open dialogue of conversation. What an episode. Guys, again, if you haven't already, go ahead, hit that like button, show some love, and go follow RJ on his Instagram, rj.allan.
Yes.
RJ.ALLAN. On YouTube, forget the dot, RJ Allan, and it's also in my community tab and in my video description. Guys, go follow RJ and make sure also to go follow Jason. I put it under here, but go subscribe to Jason at www.it says it right there. And his intro video is in my community tab. RJ, with that, what are you looking forward to most next week?
I'm looking forward to the sit down with Porsha and Dennis. Is it Dennis?
Yeah.
Dennis. I'm looking forward to that. That looks like it's going to be pretty juicy. And I'm also looking forward to the conversation between Drew and Latoya. I mean, it seems like Drew really got up underneath Latoya's skin.
Yeah, it's going to be good. I think I'm probably most looking forward to that is just what happens with Drew and Latoya, because they were making out in front of Bolo and now they're back at each other's throats, but not in the making out kind of way. So No pun intended. We'll have to wait and see. All right, RJ. Well, we're coming back, guys, in 8 minutes to recap 90 Day Fiancé. When I say we, I don't mean RJ and myself. RJ is glammed up, ready to go. It is 12:52, and he is going to paint the town red.
I'm actually going to get my second vaccine.
Oh, you're going to get your second vaccine.
Yeah, pray for me, because I heard the second round is not a joke.
All right. Well, guys, look at RJ going, protecting himself. That way he can protect the rest of you. RJ, go get your vaccine. We appreciate you. We love having you as always.
Thank you, Adam. Thank you, Adam. And congratulations, Jason. I'm going to follow you right now.
All right. Hey, I'll tell him. Thanks,
Okay.
RJ.
All right, man.
All right. Bye.